Dear listener, in these confused, disturbing times, I feel it's my duty to relate a tale of triumph over adversity. A story which will hopefully convince you that there is light at the end of even the darkest tunnel. It's the story of Clara Rockmore's dog. Clara, as we know, was the finest player of the theremin that the world has ever known. To massive audiences throughout the world, she'd weave sensuous patterns in the space around the antenna of her mysterious instrument. And Mozart whistled in heaven, tears would flow, amnesties would be declared. In private, she went further. Desperate to communicate with forces beyond our comprehension, the sound of bird violins could be heard from her humble yet tasteful cellar in San Diego. Angels wailed sympathetically. Time trembled, then stood still. But what of Leon, Clara's ever-faithful bloodhound? It was hell. Each shrill tone bore into his cranium like a glass stiletto. Paws rammed into his long, sad ears. He'd seek refuge behind the fridge, the wardrobe, anywhere. Though Clara loved him dearly, she sometimes wished she had a dog that was a little braver. Even in those innocent days of the 30s, she'd been burgled several times while Leon hid nervously in the oven. However, everything changed on a cold November night when Clara was performing a duet with the famous German cellist Horst Grouchowitz at Carnegie Hall in New York. Horst too had a dog, a schnauzer named Ludwig, and backstage the two canines got on famously. For hours, Leon related the sorry tale of being driven to the point of insanity by all of those high frequencies, of endless nights quivering in the oven. Ludwig, who was partially deaf, lamented the cold climate of his hometown Leipzig, those cruel winters, rebukes from his master when he'd failed to hear the daily barrage of baritone commands. Each dog actually envied the other, but it was only as the performance on stage was ending that the rather obvious plan was hatched behind the curtains.
"We could swap the houses,"
said Ludwig with his gruff but agreeable German accent.
"Horst must fly to Leipzig straight after the show. He will not have the time to check."
Brilliant. Each dog crawled into its opposite's domain, and sure enough, Horst rushed into the dressing room, whisked away the house mop. Ludwig dashed into the street and fell into a taxi. Leipzig was indeed cold in November, but Leon revelled in the crisp winter air. Trouble was, Horst Grouchowitz was far from amused. Upon seeing a bloodhound crouched up where a schnauzer should have been, he fouled the air with Teutonic curses and turfed poor Leon into the unrelenting Leipzig streets.
For days, Leon wandered aimlessly, picking up scraps to eat, sleeping under newspapers, until one famous Tuesday night.
The Grand Theatre of Leipzig was always a good place for discarded popcorn after the crowds had disappeared, and Leon regularly visited the venue for a midnight feast. However, on this night, a glamorous figure was leaving by the back door just as Leon wrestled with the remains of a currywurst.
"Oi, you poor creature,
declared Marlene Dietrich with her seductive low-tone, high-tar voice.
I'm going to take you home.
And she did. Leon was renamed Liebchen, and he lived the rest of his 48 years in sheer, unadulterated bliss.